Well, there is another topic which we can talk about it. It is a very important topic that will take a whole another workshop to really talk about it, but we can touch it because it's extremely important. The teacher believes with very high confidence that to be able to, the student to have that driving force to go and develop the relationship we talked about with a teacher, in order to grow through that relationship and obtain a positive letter of recommendation, in order for that to happen, the student has to have a driving force leading the student to go and do that. And how that driving force is going to come into existence. How? Perhaps because it's not there. That is why the students, they just send an email from far away after a few years saying, do you remember me? Can I have a recommendation letter? Perhaps because that driving force was not there to go and meet the professor and do that relationship. Why that driving force would not exist, which seems like to be, for a very large percent of students, is not there. The teacher has done a lot of thinking about it. And he believes that there is a great fraction, high fraction of students that they come to college and they plan to do something, to take this major or to go to that school, and that idea, that decision is not theirs. Does not come from within, comes from outside. Very few students make the decision to go into something they love. They truly love. Most young people are misdirected because of promise of higher earnings, glamour, parental influence. They end up to do something they truly do not like. Sometimes they do hate. And they don't want to say it. They live with it until they die. And they are very unhappy people. Usually they become sick. They do not make up to their retirement. They try to fill up the gap with some hobby or some bigger car or some bigger house or more of this or different color of that. And that's very unfortunate. And that is why the teacher believes that it is really extremely important when the student comes to college to realize that he will be the one that he will be working 8 to 5 perhaps somewhere there. It will not be his grandparents, his neighbors, his friends and his parents. And he should not be used as a tool to bring forth unfulfilled desires of his parents. That is not going to be fair for anyone. Because if the student is not going to be happy, he will not succeed. How his parents are going to be happy about it? Now, the parents, out of fear, that's a lower level of love. They do care. They try to protect their children. And they tell them, go and do this job. You will find a more secure job, a better job, more money, and so on and so forth. But, as we know, the situation we have today, especially today, has changed a lot. 50 years ago, when you would graduate from somewhere, some of the company will knock your door and say, will you please come and work for me? Now, we know we can send hundreds of resumes, and we beg and pray day and night, I wish that they will look at my resume. And if they look at my resume, we wish we will get an invitation. And if we get an invitation, we wish that we'll be picked up to have a job. And even if we get the job, we hope that we can maintain it. Because things are changing so fast, you can be laid off any moment. So then, the motivation of go for this because you will find a good job that way, a more secure job, it is a big lie. Because some years ago, people were saying, go out to the computers or go to business degree or whatever. Everybody goes and then people cannot find a job. There is unemployment. Or, even if you find a job, the company dissolves, you are older, You don't want to go and start with a starting salary, and you start withering. You start having mental problems, depression, start fighting with your wife, your husband, your children. You start getting sick, you become actually physically sick, and in a few years, 2-3 years, you die. When the teacher says that, he has personal examples from his own friends, seeing this scenario developing in a few years. And now, one of his best friends, actually, his body is in the freezer. He's going to be buried in a few days. One of his best friends passed away not even 10 days ago. And that happened to his life. This is a direction that we do not want to go. You do not want to go to that direction. So it's extremely important. If you see you're taking classes, this is going for the freshman and maybe second year. If you see that you're taking classes that one after the other, by having this major in mind or this goal in mind for this school, if you see that class after class you're struggling, you're getting D's, C's, and even if you get good grades, you really don't like it, you're bored, you hate it, class after class, seldom one class to really you like, it means you are in the wrong path. Okay? If it's 1 or 2 or 3 classes, that's okay. Sometimes the teacher might have problems, he might not be doing a good job that quarter, the book might not be good, blah blah. If it happens sometimes during college, that's okay. Go ahead. But if you're taking classes and one after the other, you're really struggling and you don't like what you're doing, it means you are in the wrong path. And it would be good to have a sincere discussion with your parents or the ones that support you financially or morally, emotionally. You should have a very sincere discussion and say, this is going to be my life, and I respect you and I love you, but I must do what I love. And if you do sincerely talk to your parents and you explain to them how you feel about it, because teacher has discovered that students don't have the courage to do that. They think that by doing that, the parents will think that they don't love them. And that is a very wrong way to go. You should have a sincere discussion with your parents, if that's the case, that after class, this is happening. That I'm struggling and I feel sick and I don't like it. And I really want to do this. And the parents, in the beginning, they might not like what they will hear. But if you're sincere and loving and respecting, you will win your parents to be on your side, to support you. And the end result will be not just you to be happy, but they will be happy too. Because you will be successful, you will be healthy, and you will be able to support them even if they get sick or get backwards or whatever. But if you're not happy, or if you get sick, how are you going to help them? The parents don't have the power to realize that because of fear, because of culture, collective fear. So they tell you, go and do something for a secure job, just something with a lot of money. Parents usually, they will not tell you, go and do what you love. I will help you to find out what you love. I will be on your side, no matter what it is. As long as you love it, and you enjoy it, and you feel it's you, I will support you. That's a very seldom thing to find from your parents. And you should really think about this very, very seriously. And do it the way you're supposed to do it. Not with war. Because teacher knows some students, they suddenly decide they want to do something else. They are not even very sure. And they just start fighting with their parents. And sometimes, parents might know you more than anybody else deeply what you really would like to do. If the parents have this kind of ability to can see deeply, they are not attached to things, to society norms, pre-assumptions, neighbors, blah blah. They're just totally objective. They can see you what you really are up to. They can see your talents, and they might encourage you. And don't make the mistake by saying many things, no, no, no. You say also no to this topic, right? Because we are used when we are young to say no to many things, right? And they might see that you are really good on this thing, right? And they might encourage you, and you say no. And you know what happens to these young people? They go around the world for 30 years, trying different things, and after 30 years they come back and do exactly what their parents were telling them that they should do. That's, of course, a small fraction. That's not the majority, but that happens too. So you really have to have you need to develop the discrimination ability to discern, right? To be able to discriminate, to discern what is that you really like to do now, okay? Now, that might change, but it is beautiful to change from something you love today to something else you love tomorrow, right? Than to start with something you hate, because you're in the wrong path. You might never find your path that way. And if you truly are willing to grow as a person, even in your job, in your career, don't expect to have the same job all the time. Because true growth should happen, and if it does happen, you might even completely change your career. Don't be afraid of it. You be open to it. Don't be locked in a box and say, you know, I studied this, and so this is what I have to do. That's going to be wrong. You should be open, because if you grow inside, in mind and in heart, the more you become, you know, coming to know who you are, the friends will change, the career might change. So you should be really free to allow yourself to grow and to go to different careers, even different majors, but you need to be careful when you do these changes, to have a mentor, somebody who has experience and truly loves you to help, to lead you how to do this. You don't do fast movements with these things. You're patient. Take some time, right? The teacher has many examples in his mind, and some of them are very sad, because young people are totally sometimes confused and misled, because they are misled. And students that have 4.5, whatever you call it, top in high school, they end up in college with this, very frustrated, they drop out, and then it takes many years for them to really equilibrate and find out what they want to do. And the reason is because they receive signals from outside, from different sources, and they cannot decide what to do. They think that if they want to do what they love to do, their parents will not love them anymore, or a fight will break, and all these things. So you need to have this. Be humble. Be respectful. Be loving. And your parents, sooner or later, will understand if you need to make a change. Because you need their support. You cannot be really successful to be against people that they truly care for you. Since you were born, they were on your side. You don't want to destroy that relationship just to say, I'm going to do what I feel. No. If you do it the right way, they will be on your side, and they will support you, and everybody will be a winner. You, your parents, and the boss, the leader of the company that will hire you will always be also very successful, because you're going to have somebody who loves what he does. And companies that they do really good, they have people that they love what they're doing. These are the more successful institutions. So everybody is a winner. The parents, the student, and the employer is a winner if it's done properly and right? And I think we reached the end. Unless you have, maybe we can take another question, one more question. If you have one more question.